So last week comes out from Elliot Friedman and Pierre LeBrun, I believe. Both said teams are considering doing home games outdoors. The Bruins are one of the franchises. I think it came out later that a lot more franchises than initially said. Because initially, what was it? The Kings, Anaheim, Bruins, and
Penguins.
The Penguins. So they were, and then it kind of came out that more teams were for it because they took a vote.
It was like Carolina and
I think Dallas,
Nashville.
Yeah.
So
that'd be awesome. So again, the idea of this is perfect. I love this. I love the idea. And the Bruins were rumored to have been talking to city officials about Fenway Park, and then they released a statement, I believe. Mm-hmm. I could not find the statement anywhere last week, but I know that they released one. So that happened, and Fenway Park. So I think the idea of them playing at Fenway is great. I think the actual execution is borderline impossible. I also think watching a game there would be terrible. Like, it's fun, like the Winter Classic in 2010. It's fun to be like, I was there. I was at Fenway for the Winter Classic. But I don't think you want every game there. If you're a season ticket holder, I don't think you want to be sitting in, like, you know, the grandstand just kind of watching little figures skate around the ice.
Yeah, no, it's not the most conducive place to watch a hockey game, to say the least. I wasn't there for the 2010 Winter Classic, but I went in 14 and I want to say 17 when they had college hockey there for those games, and it very much loses its luster very quickly. I mean, it's cool when you walk in, you sit down, you're a little chilly, but you get through it because you're chewing up the scenery, you're taking it all in, and then the puck drops and you're like, holy shit, this is terrible. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Yeah, and those like old wooden seats. So by like the end of the first period, you actually like suctioned into the seat because it's so cold. It's not great. Not a lot of
even the new seats closer to the field that are plastic. I mean, those are not fun to sit in 20-degree weather.
The only like way you could maybe somewhat enjoy it is if you get up to like the pavilion box seats or any of those ones higher up there. But even then, you're also then being exposed to like the 40-mile-per-hour winds that would knock those reporters leaning over. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I mean, in terms of just the general idea, yeah, of course it'd be awesome. And for owners across the league, it makes a lot of sense that, all right, if the season comes back in mid-January, February, you're not going to have a lot of fans, if any, in the stands, right? So your revenue is going to take a hit. Why not, have open the season with, first couple of weeks having a couple of outdoor games just to get 5,000, 10,000 fans or something in. Like, of course it makes sense. Is it going to happen in Boston? I don't think so. I think if you look at maybe a few of these other teams that are proposing it that are in, markets that are much more lax with how they're handling the COVID pandemic. So, Texas or I think North Carolina. I think the owner of the Hurricanes even mentioned, they've got the NC State Stadium literally right next to them. So
yes.
I think he pretty much flat out said like that's what they're hoping to do. So you see a few of these markets and it seems like an easy switch. For Boston, I think it's easier said than done because let's say they do Fenway, which even then it wouldn't be the best viewing experience. But if you get that approved, I don't know how state or local officials aren't going to put a clamp on that right away. I mean, you could make the case that that the pressure's on the state government anyway to probably do more restrictions in the next couple of weeks based on how the numbers are jumping up. So I don't see even how in the span of 5-6 weeks it's like, all right, we maybe have gotten this latest spike under control. We're going to send 5,000 drunk Bruins fans into Fenway.
Yeah,
like, it just doesn't make it makes sense from the Bruins perspective in terms of getting revenue, but I don't see how they're going to get the green light to do something like that.
No, Boston. The thing is, Boston is too strict with their COVID regulations to ever let something like this happen. I mean, this is a great. And what's funny is Boston, in a non-COVID time, if you really wanted to do like outdoor games, Boston would probably be the place. You have Fenway, you have Harvard Stadium,
which would be great.
Which would be great. Harvard would be the place. And I think that was floated around on Twitter a bit when this Fenway stuff came out. It was like, the idea of outdoor games is great. Fenway is a terrible viewing experience for a hockey game. Any baseball stadium is a terrible viewing experience for a hockey game. Where you should do it is Harvard. That would be like the place to do it. given just the sight lines. There's no bad seats.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a very historic place anyway, so you kind of get the history involved. So I do, and what's funny is I think if you wanted to, if the NHL really wants to do these outdoor games where there will be fans, you know, as you said, the places that are lax with COVID, you know, Texas, North Carolina, I think Nashville's probably kind of lax with stuff.
Yes.
I'm just gonna take a guess. I would probably guess that it's funny. I had friends in California this summer who said that it was as strict as California was. Most people there didn't take it seriously, so it was like a kind of a mix, whereas I think it is serious here and we also do take it seriously, so it's kind of like a good balance. But I do think you could find a place to do, if you wanted to do a week or 2 weeks of outdoor games to kind of kick the season off for teams who wanted to do it. I mean, I think that'd be cool. You know, I mean, I think that would be something you could do. You could maintain the ice as best you could. You know, if you had a few outdoor rinks in the area, you know, if you did, I don't know, a place like Dallas. Let's say you do Dallas. You could do, I mean, Cowboy Stadium really wouldn't work, but there's a bunch of colleges in the area that you could put.
I mean, you can do the Cotton Bowl, which they used for this past Winter Classic. So
that one.
They probably have for the it's like when you don't put away all your Christmas tree stuff, you just leave it in the corner. I feel like they just have that like lying somewhere around the Cotton Bowl that they can just use again.
Yeah, so you could do that. I mean, I think that'd be cool, you know, because obviously maintaining outdoor ice for 4 months at NHL, you know, NHL ready ice for 3 or 4 months is borderline impossible. So as fun as that idea is, I doubt it ever happens.